Well, hey, everybody. Welcome into Box Lunch. It is free today. Was that what I'm being told? It's free?
Yes.
Yep.
Last free one of the year. Probably not the year.
Well, of the
Certainly
month.
the week.
Of the month. Yeah, so we're going to talk about a couple things today. I wrote them down. I had a whole thing planned out. I'm not going to lie. It is cold in here. I'll start with that. I'm not kidding. I walked from outside into this studio. The building's fine. I walked into the studio. It is colder in here than it is out there, and that is preposterous. We are dealing in this studio with temperatures that have yet to be seen in broadcast television. This honestly is history. Slow clap for us. Slow clap for us for dealing with this adversity. Because to be quite honest, this is brutal. But what else is brutal is a loss for the TCU Horned Frog. Oh, TCU Horned Frogs. I almost got that transition right. I was watching the game last night. The first half was okay. Again, Tom kind of spelled it out. The first several minutes of that game was not great. UC's defense looked terrible. TCU has some very good players, and they showed it in the first 5 minutes of that game. But after that, the defense played well. The first half was a wash. It was a 1-point game at half, I think. We get to the second half. Again, this team, I have yet to feel this much emotion when I watch these games. I know everybody's making fun of the emotion stuff, and that's fine. You guys can go ahead and feel free to do that. But honest to God, when I watch this team, when I watch this Bearcats team, it rejuvenates my love for college basketball more. It is what people will say the NBA is better. And if you watch UC basketball, you'll surely think that because the way UC plays is fundamentally incorrect. They don't make free throws. They don't make layups. I think they missed 11 layups, if that's accurate. I think they missed 11 layups. They missed like 2 dunks. We got Aziz giving the ball to the other team like it's nothing. The turnovers and the free throws have to stop. They have to. I have the quote. I'm going to pull it up. I didn't send this one to Casey. But I have the quote from Wes Miller. And again, I'm going to read it because in the show, Tom said, you're taking it out of context. And maybe I am. But this is the quote after John Newman missed that 1-on-1 free throw to Texas, clinching our loss. One thing I don't want to hear about is free throw shooting. Everybody hurts when we lose, especially John Newman. Miller says there were thousands of reasons why they lost that game, and free throws weren't one of them. Wes, if you continue to shoot at a historically bad rate at the free throw line, you are not going to give yourself a chance to win in the Big 12. This isn't little boy basketball. This is not the American Conference, and I say this with love and respect. That conference is a joke. The fact that UC even had to participate in it is a disgrace. Lindsay, you're good. You can just walk under it. But when you play in the Big 12, I expected a couple of these things to be cleaned up. Why do you have a scholarship if you can't shoot 70%, 60% at the free throw line as a team? Where are these scholarships coming from if we can't do the work? It's not Wes Miller's job to coach up free throw shooting. It's not. As a 20-something-year-old, you should be expected to know how to shoot a free throw and do it at a level that's not embarrassing. I love UC, and I am very excited about that win. Nobody was more excited than me. But if you continue to shoot 50% at the free throw line, you are going to lose a lot of games. They had, 14 turnovers yesterday too. Just clean up the nonsense, and you have a good basketball team here. I know the Ken Pom stuff, and I'll get into Xavier at the end of the show. UC has a very good team according to Ken Pom, according to the analytic people. Xavier might have a little bit better of an analytical ranking. That's fine. Good for Xavier. But UC has a good team. You can't say UC doesn't have a good team. They objectively have a very good team. Reed brought in the nonsense that was moral victories the other day, and that's fine. We joke about it. We're now past that joke because we're 2-2 in the Big 12 with 2 ranked wins. So again, moral victories are irrelevant here. This isn't about moral victories. This is about getting the job done, and they got it done somehow yesterday. But it's one of those things where I watch this team and I feel happy. I was standing up watching a UC basketball game last night for pretty much the entire second half. My mom and dad were in the living room watching it with me. My mom's like, "Ellie, you must have money on it. You must have money on it." Because I've never seen you look like this during a UC basketball game. And I haven't for years and years and years. I stood up for the entire second half and overtime. That was the most stressful ending to a game I've ever seen. And this is where I say when I'm talking about court storming, as I'll slowly transition here, the court storm was not because they beat ranked TCU. It wasn't. I understand that it's kind of a joke to do. Even Charlie Walter, if you watched Chatterbox Bearcats last night, said it. What are we doing storming the court for 19th ranked TCU? It's just something you don't do. UC was 3.5-point favorites. A lot of teams won't do that because it's quite honestly, as all the Xavier fans have very loudly expressed to me, it's embarrassing. But my point being, if you didn't watch that game, if you weren't a fan of UC watching that game and you had no idea what the emotions were, you had no idea. There was almost, there was a point where TCU went up, I think, 9 in the second half. I thought it was done. It was cooked. UC marches right back down, takes a 3-point lead, 4-point lead. TCU then cuts it right back down. They take the lead. It was back and forth the entire second half. And at the end of the second half, there was Wes Miller said in his post-game press conference, it was one of the wildest endings to a basketball game, a regulation in his entire career. He's been coaching for 15 plus years. And it was crazy. And to have UC and our fan base, the UC, the Cincinnati Bearcat fan base, has been starving for anything close to this type of excitement. Just to have it. It honestly feels to me, and I don't know how many times I'm going to compare the 2023 Reds. I don't know how many times I'm going to compare something to them because it feels like that. It feels like we're so close to being a legitimately good contender in college basketball. And it's almost like what the Reds feel right now. Last year when they went on a 12-game winning streak, it feels almost like that. It feels exciting to watch the Bearcats again. The games are crowded. It's a loud atmosphere. People care again. And that's because of Wes Miller. That's because of John Newman III. That's because of Day Thomas. And again, I get it. I get it. Court storming against a 19th ranked team at home, 3.5-point favorites. Should you do it? Maybe not. We'll take our $25,000 fine and we'll move on. But if they won that game in regulation, nobody's storming the court. They stormed the court because of all the circumstances, all the events that transpired in that game. An overtime thriller against a team that probably should have won the game based on how UC played. But you could also make the argument UC played well enough to beat them. So that's all I have there. UC played their ass off, and good for them. The court storming, I'm not against it. I know Reed is, and that's fine. I was getting texts from our friend Paul Frischner yesterday. I had to leave our group chat. I'm very sorry. I was emotional. I was upset. But listen, I'm having fun again. That's all that matters. We are having fun in Cincinnati. And I'll talk about Xavier in a second. I'll talk about Xavier at the end of the show because I know everybody gets upset, or when I say everybody, I mean Mouse Cop. They get upset when we don't talk about Xavier. I don't hate Xavier. I do not hate Xavier. I want to make that abundantly clear. I make the joke I like Quincy Olivari. I actually do like him. I will go to several Xavier games for the year. But there are Xavier fans that know how to get under my skin, and they get under a lot of people's skin, and that's fine. I'll talk about them at the end. Going on to the weird tweet. Casey, do we have the weird tweet?
Which one? We got two of them, right?
Yeah, well, just this one. This is the weirdest one. So yesterday I don't know if you can zoom in on the weirdo. If not, that's okay.
Just the weird tweet?
Yeah, just the weirdo.
All right.
So I was tweeting about the UC game nonstop yesterday. Again, it was very stressful. It was one of the more stressful games I've ever watched. I was talking in our Chatterbox group chat about how I wanted to die when I was watching it. That's fine. I was stressed out. It's fun. We're having fun. Everybody's having fun. I received this tweet from a guy named David, and I'm going to read it to you. This was in response to a college basketball tweet regarding Day Thomas and some of his missed free throws. Russia will invade Israel and Europe. Fasting is biblical. Loving immigrants is biblical. David Uunur and prophets among us on YouTube are Elijah and Moses. Respectfully, avoid sports idolatry? I don't know what that word. Avoid gluttony and selling progeny. Dragons and giant sea creatures will be seen. Lindsay, you want to give me some analysis on that tweet?
I couldn't, even if I gave you my best guess.
I don't know what the hell we're doing on Twitter now. Maybe it's a bot. I assume that's a bot.
Well, I think you weren't avoiding sports idolatry.
Well, what does that mean? What is that? So I'm idolizing sports?
Yes. I think that is David was just getting on you about sports idolatry. And also, the gluttony and what I don't even know the last.
Well, it's the giant sea creatures and the dragons.
Well, I mean, as everyone knows, we've seen dragons.
Dragons are real. That's a real thing. He is right about that. But it is crazy how I'll just go on X.com and that'll be a response to a basketball tweet. Giant sea creatures and dragons. But good for him. I guess we all have stuff to do. Outside of that, I wanted to play some Would You Rather with you guys. I've got some tweets that I sent to Casey. I was spending a lot of time last night on X.com sending tweets to Casey. Tom, did you use the clip I sent you there?
Yes, I did.
I sent Casey that tweet I was going to talk about, that clip of Todd Bowles, and I was gonna use that today, but that's fine.
We can still use it.
We can maybe still use it. But I wanted to give you a couple Would You Rathers. I always do Would You Rather on my day, and I wanted to continue it here. So here we go. Would you rather the Ravens or the 49ers win a Super Bowl this year? Both are the two heavy favorites. It's those two, and then it's probably the Bills at 3. But if you had to choose one, who would you rather see? Brock Purdy, when you close your little eyes, Reed, can you see Brock Purdy hoisting up the Lombardi with one of the best rosters we've seen? And they've stayed mostly healthy throughout the year, mostly. Or would you rather have a divisional team in Lamar Jackson, who, by the way, and I wanted to say this, if you were to give Lamar Jackson a chance this weekend, or if you were to give C.J. Stroud a chance against Lamar Jackson this weekend, Lamar in the past 3 seasons, 1-9. 1-9 as 10-plus point favorites or 9-point favorites. He is 1-9
against the spread or winning?
Against the spread. Against the spread.
Okay.
So if you're willing to bet on it. But, Reed, 49ers or Ravens?
This puts me in a tough spot. I've made this. Everyone makes fun of me. They say, Reed, you're a Steelers fan. Reed, you're a Browns fan. Reed, you're a Chiefs fan. Reed, you're a Bills fan. Listen, I hate the Chiefs. I hate the Steelers. I despise the Steelers. I despise the Browns. I got nothing. I don't feel a whole lot of hate for the Ravens. I know that's crazy. I don't have a whole lot of hate for the Ravens. I really don't. So if people are asking me who I'd rather win the Super Bowl, yes, I understand what I'm about to say is going to seem problematic as a Bengals fan, but I think I'd rather the Ravens win. And the reason I'd rather that happen is because I can swallow a Ravens fan giving us flack saying, oh, we won the Super Bowl. What have you guys done? You guys haven't done shit. Because they've already got a more successful franchise than us. Like, that doesn't add anything, right? That doesn't add anything to that conversation. But as someone who constantly defends the AFC, as someone who has defended Lamar Jackson now for 3 years, I would like them to do it because I can't take Brock Purdy winning a Super Bowl and having to hear about Brock Purdy anymore.
That's fair. And before I get to Casey, I had to show this tweet. I found this tweet last night. This is the Kirk Cousins curse. Teams who have lost to Kirk Cousins have never won the Super Bowl. So, they lost to him this season. Will it come into play? I think so. Casey?
I'm 100%. The question is 49ers or Ravens, right?
Correct.
It's 100% the 49ers. I cannot stand the Ravens, hate the Ravens, have personal beef with their fans. Yeah, I would rather die than see the Ravens win another Super Bowl, especially with Lamar Jackson, because all I ever hear is that Lamar Jackson's this great quarterback.
Oh, he's good. Come on.
And yeah, we won't get the same love to Brock Purdy. Like, come on. I don't know. It's just dumb.
This was pre-Elliott, so this was we'll call that BE, before Elliott era. There was a time last year where Casey looked me in my eyes. He looked me eye to eye. And Casey's an honest man, so this came from a place of, like, truth in his soul. He thought this was true. He looked me in the eyes and said, I think the Ravens might be better with Tyler Huntley than Lamar Jackson. He looked at me and he said those words, and I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it.
How about that?
Well, they almost won a playoff game with Tyler Huntley.
If Lamar were to win this playoff game, and I think Lamar is about to face enormous pressure, absolutely enormous pressure. If he were to lose this,
oh yeah,
everything is, again, he's going to win another MVP, but it's always going to come back to what do you do in the postseason? Always. It always comes back. No matter how many MVPs you win, it's always what do you do in the postseason.
Correct.
I do think it would be unfortunate for a Lamar guy myself. I am a Lamar guy. I think he's a damn good quarterback and on his way to – it has to be unanimous, right? There's no way anybody else gets another vote?
I don't know if it'll be unanimous. But let me make something clear. If it is unanimous, it's because there wasn't anybody else deserving.
I agree. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Like it wasn't because he put up like Patrick Mahomes 55 touchdowns, 5,000. It wasn't that. He was unanimous the first time he won MVP because he was so clearly better than everybody else. This year it would be because there's not a whole lot of other deserving. But I don't know. I don't know if it'll be
Everett is on the right track here. Lamar is the Dak of the AFC. The difference is his kicker. I 100% agree with that.
Has Dak won 2 MVPs?
No. But, I mean,
Everett's being tongue-in-cheek from what Voch Lombardi said a couple days ago about how Evan McPherson created Joe Burrow's legacy already. That rubbed me the wrong way. Whenever someone tries to belittle what Joe Burrow has done, it really gets underneath my skin. I saw a stat before the postseason. Joe Burrow would have had the third most playoff wins going into this postseason. I think he has more. He's got more playoff wins out of the 8 quarterbacks that are going to play this weekend. The only guy that has more is Patrick Mahomes. That's Flacco
unreal.
Was the other guy that was in front of him.
That's unreal. I think Lamar Jackson's a damn good quarterback. I think he is a 2-time MVP. If you were to win a playoff game, just give me one Lamar, and we'll call it a day.
So who did you answer the question?
I did not answer the question. I would rather the Ravens win. I like John Harbaugh. I don't hate the Ravens. I know they're a divisional rival, but I really don't hate the Ravens. I hate the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Correct.
I hate them.
I want the Pittsburgh Steelers to lose every game by 364 points. And the only game that I don't want them to lose by 364 points, sorry, Lindsay, is when they play the Cleveland Browns. I want that game to finish 0-0. I want neither team to score. I want both teams to tie, and that's it. The Ravens are what they are. Because for some reason, I know it isn't true, but for some reason my brain has always just like, I feel like we've competed with the Ravens. I feel like we're toe-to-toe, and that's not true. The Ravens have had our number. Other than 2021 when Joe Burrow threw for 10,000 yards in 2 games. But the Steelers have just always kicked our arse, so I didn't want that. And the Browns just think that they're somebody, and they just never will be. What the Browns are the biggest laughing stock in professional
Yeah, they're a
sports.
joke. I tried to ride the Browns bandwagon this postseason. I tried my best. I like Joe Flacco. I thought he was fun. The issue with fun is that fun usually sometimes doesn't win when it matters. And they certainly got humiliated by the Texans. But all this gets me to my next would you rather. We're talking about Dak Prescott. Would you rather have Dak Prescott? And this is not factoring any money whatsoever. No money. This is just you being an NFL GM next season.
Talent evaluator.
There's a fantasy draft, and these are your 2 options.
Okay. Yeah.
Dak Prescott, C.J. Stroud.
C.J. Stroud 100%.
Not close, right?
Correct.
Yeah, not even close.
That's what I thought. Now, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson.
It's not close, right?
Not close.
Maybe.
Okay.
Casey, you're dumb.
Saying that, would you rather be a Cowboys fan right now, or would you rather be a Texans fan next year? So I guess next year, are you more excited to be a Cowboys fan or a Texans fan?
Texas fan.
Because the Cowboys, despite everything, they still play in a garbage division. They're going to win 10 to 11 games. There's always hope. The Texans, this could be.
I could argue the same thing about the Texans. They're going to win at least 10 games in the AFC South. I mean,
what we think.
The Jags, we know are fraud. They're bad.
Yeah,
so that was the top competitor. Tennessee, they're going to be bad. They're going to be looking for a new head coach. They're going to be losing Derrick Henry. And then you have the Colts, which we don't know enough about the Colts, but the Texans are competitive enough to win at least 10 games next year if everything stays the same. And not only that, they're getting the Browns draft pick this year. They didn't lose anything in terms of draft. I don't know.
I would rather be a Texans fan.
I'd rather be a Texans fan. Yeah.
Every time I think about what has happened to the Cleveland Browns in the past 4 or 5 days, I laugh even more. I laugh even more to think about the fact that they had the best year in 3 decades and that they lost a playoff game by 30 points to a team that holds their draft picks, and then they had to watch their quarterback that they didn't want anymore win a playoff game against the reigning NFC champs. That is just so funny. And Coach of the Year Kevin Stefanski is now cleaning house. He's got to be the first coach of the year to fire half his coaching staff. The Cleveland Browns are just they're the gift that keeps on giving. They're the jelly of the month club. It's the gift that keeps on giving. I love you, Cleveland. Golly, I love you, Cleveland Browns. In all honesty, Netflix has spent a lot of money. They've spent a lot of money producing comedy specials. They've done a lot. I mean, Tom Segura, Dave Chappelle, giving these guys big money and said, hey, we want your content on our platform. They could save the money and just put up a camera outside of Cleveland's Municipal Stadium, because that's the funniest thing in this world, the Cleveland Browns organization is. So thank you so much, Cleveland, for the gift that keeps on giving. But as for the Texans-Cowboys question, I would rather 1 touchdowns or whatever it is and 1 interception over an 8-week period, all with the youngest team in NFL history to make the postseason. And then you win a playoff game against a team that hadn't lost at home in 16 games, against a team that were like one of the Super Bowl favorites.
Yeah.
You really won by like 4 scores. I know it ended up only being like 18 points, but you really that game was 48-16 in the fourth quarter. Yeah, I'd rather have Jordan Love.
Casey?
I would definitely take Jordan Love. I think that there's more of a potential boom there than there is with Dak. I understand Dak was what?
Trevor
Oh, Trevor
Lawrence.
So it's Trevor or Jordan Love?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. 100% Jordan Love. I had Trevor all year last year in one of my leagues, and he was a bum all year long. Straight up a bum.
Fantasy reasons, I love it.
I
love it,
him.
and I agree with you, by the way.
It's terrible.
I agree with you. My other would you rather was
We're buffering, aren't we?
Are we
we are buffering.
Are we live?
I mean, we're struggling here.
We're sneaking through.
Should I continue?
It's pretty bad buffering at the moment.
Great.
But we're recording, so if you
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, my other would you rather had to do with T. Higgins. We already touched on that, but I am shocked that Reed would not like to run it back with T one time. I think I would. If we ran it back with T next year, we have Joe Burrow presumably healthy at least for a little bit until he gets hurt. Maybe that's mean to say, but he is injury prone. If we had Jamar and T. Higgins one last time, one magical run, we bring Joe back at a $6 million deal just for fun, $7 million deal for fun. Wouldn't it be fun to have that? Because otherwise, you're taking a chance on paying what? The offensive line more money? We can't do that, right? Are we going to do that?
It'd probably go towards the defensive tackle, which is a much bigger need than our wide receiver room.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. I would just, as a Bengals fan, I would like to have
I don't want
T. Higgins.
Yeah,
one more year.
Listen, I would love to have T. Higgins going forward, but this is the NFL where things are in place to make a competitive balance, right? To make all the teams competitive. And one of those things is a salary cap. And unfortunately, the salary cap limits the Cincinnati Bengals from having T. Higgins and Jamar Chase more than likely going forward. If they do keep those guys, then other holes will present themselves on the team. So when I say that I want them to tag and trade T, it's not from a place of no longer wanting T. Higgins on the team. I would love if T. Higgins was on this team next year. I just would prefer more if the Bengals did everything in their power to be as competitive as they possibly could, not just for next year, but going forward. And I think the best course of action is to tag and trade T. Higgins.
That's fair. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah,
Casey, do you have something? I'm sorry.
I was just going to, since that was your last thing, I was also going to just agree that provides your biggest potential for value. That is your biggest value play. Now, Bengals don't usually do big value plays. They'll let the guys walk on the tag like they did with Jesse Bates, tackle, or the next 3-tech to come in and be that guy. I think they have proven that they can find guys in the draft at receiver. And I feel comfortable with them in that part of their evaluation.
So you would, if you get T. Higgins for a second-round pick,
which they probably won't trade. I'm just telling you right now, they probably won't trade him. If they franchise him, he's staying here another year, and they're going to lose out on that value.
Hypothetically, we get a second-round pick or something similar to it. What would you use that draft pick on?
Personally, I would use it on a receiver. I mean, T. Higgins was a second-round pick. You just replace that same value, right?
It's fair. That's fair. I would take the sure thing, but this is just my opinion.
Well, I get. I don't necessarily think there's a wrong answer. And yeah, T. Higgins is the sure thing, but then he's gone. After next year, he's gone. So would you rather have the better question is would you rather have 1 year of T. Higgins or 4 years of a second-round wide receiver?
For me, and again, it's all I do like the. I don't want to use the Rams as the best metric of success, but I think one Super Bowl means more to this city than anything, and I think our best chance to win a Super Bowl would be to have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase on the same team. So to answer your question, you could take a risk and you can get that, which you're going to have to do anyway, by the way. I know I'm not immune to that fact. You will have to draft another wide receiver to replace T. Higgins. But if I'm given the choice between paying T. Higgins $22 million and having him and Jamar healthy, ready to go with Joe Burrow and our offense, I'd take it. I would take that over the draft pick and then starting over there next year.
What gives us what do you think gives us the best chance to win the Super Bowl? Is it 1 year of T, one more year, all in on 1 year?
Okay.
Or 4 years of a second round, like the same roster, but 4 years of a second round wide receiver. So you get 1 year with T or 4 years with Jamar and whoever the second round wide receiver is.
I'd take T.
So you think there's a better chance to win the Super Bowl
with T. Higgins
next year?
Yes.
Than there would be if we draft a guy like Puka Nacua in the second round for 4 years.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. A healthy T. Higgins. A healthy T. Higgins, sure.
Okay.
Going around the NFL, again, I was going to use Lindsay. The chat wants you to speak.
I know. What do you want me to speak on?
Well, okay, here's.
What would you like me to say?
Let's say this. Let's ask you a fun question, no Bengals questions. Let's get the chat a little bit more about you. Top three favorite meals you eat.
Top three.
Yeah. No. Let me change it. Top three favorite restaurants you go to.
Well, it's not like open anymore, but we used to always do for birthdays. My family would go to Gingy. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Mm-mm. It's like in Columbus. Now it's only like a takeout place, but it's like a Japanese place. It's kind of like Iron Chef or whatever, where they cook in front of you.
Mm.
That. Love Chick-fil-A. I can crave that every day. All
Yep.
day.
Yep.
And then I really like. On campus, Mio's has the best wings. I love Mio's wings.
Mio's is very good.
Lindsay, last night you said you were watching the game,
yes.
right? You were watching the UC-TCU game.
Yes.
Did you feel so much emotion watching that game that you watched it on your laptop, that you stormed down your stairs at your house and started celebrating in the middle of your living room?
I honestly had to refrain from doing that. I held back, but
she felt it.
It was a lot. It was very high
palpable.
tension. Watching that, like, I think it should have been over after the 3 seconds. Like, we should have made the
two
free throws, and then it
correct.
was a lot of feeling when they got it back to do their own free throws, and then they missed, and it was just. But the emotion, I couldn't bear go down my apartment stairs.
The emotions were bubbling. No one put a wooden spoon over that pot of emotions, and it just boiled over onto the floor.
Fellas, is it wrong to have emotions when you watch sports? Because that's what it seems like we're emotion shaming. It seems like a guy like Reed Mouse who cries after Bengals wins is shaming me for getting excited that UC won a basketball game, a very big basketball game, for a team that's been very bad for a very long time.
You insinuated something at the beginning of this show that I want to clarify. You insinuated that I do not like storming the court, that I look down upon storming the court. That used to be true. Before about 9:55 today, right before the show went on, yes, I did not like storming the court. What I didn't take into account when I had that opinion, because your opinion can change when you learn new things. What I didn't take into account when I had that opinion was the emotion. I didn't realize how emotional it could be, and sometimes You've got to vent, right? You've got to get rid of the emotions. In the best way, listen, if me and my wife get in a fight tonight, if we start and things start boiling up, I'm going to drive my truck over to Hamilton High and I'm going to run onto the hardwood floor. I'm going to storm the court. Because that's the best way to deal with emotions.
Okay. NFL news. I was gonna use the Bucks press conference, but Tom stole it from me at the very last second, so I don't get to use that anymore. But Casey did send me this, and I thought this was interesting as well. The Casey tweet. If you have it, do you have it?
I do have it. Yeah.
If you don't have it, that's okay. But he's got it ready. Boom. Look at this. Technical wizard. The Eagles. They ran 690 screenplays this season. It accumulated negative 26 yards. That is an NFL record, single-season low in yardage on screens. That's almost impossible.
That's impossible.
That's almost impossible.
That's not a real tweet.
That's not a real tweet?
There's no way you'd run 690 screens.
He's right. Casey.
What the hell are you guys talking about? You guys, what the hell was that?
Casey got me. That was good by Casey.
What the hell was that?
I just knew he did not like that at all. He wanted to bash the Eagles so hard there, so I just thought I'd send that in there.
That was really good by Casey. I wonder what the number is though. Now I'm curious.
It can't be good.
690 screens, and we took that seriously.
Casey sent it to me. I thought it was being serious. I thought we were going to use it on Box.
Oh man, that's great.
I got. Listen, sometimes you get got. Barry McCockner, he is alive and well in this studio, and his name is Casey McAllister. I was blinded by Emotion Mouse. Yeah. Outside of that, I did find it funny that the spread is 10 points. Lamar Jackson again 1-9 against the spread in the last 3 years. I will be personally taking the Texans, by the way. I've made my decision on that. I will be riding 49ers minus 10 because I think that one I do think that one is legitimate. I think there's going to be some overreaction saying, oh, Jordan Love's the God, he's the truth, and they're going to place their money on him plus 10, but the 49ers are a better team. I'll take them. On the other side, I will take Baker Mayfield plus 6. I've changed my mind on that too because a hungry dog always runs faster, and I think Baker Mayfield himself, who's played, I saw the graphic when they were playing the Eagles, he's had 8 head coaches in his career, each one of them worse than the next, except for Todd Bowles, seemingly. I will take Baker Mayfield because I like the guy.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do about the Lions game. That is the game that I'm up for. Well, that one and the Bills Chiefs. I'm gonna sit on the Bills Chiefs, but I have absolutely made up my mind on taking both the Ravens and the 49ers. The reason is because every single, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I'll let you guys in on my betting habits if I do bet. If I do bet, I go the opposite of what everyone thinks. When people zig, I zag, right? If everyone's doing one bet, I do the other. And the second that those lines came out as double-digit spreads, I knew everyone was going to flock to the Packers. And I more knew that everyone was going to flock to the Texans. And I don't know if you've noticed this in our chat. A lot of people who don't talk about betting a whole lot, almost unanimously, they are all chomping at the bit, betting Texans, going to bet the money line, going to take Texans plus 9.5. It's a sure thing. I mean, I can't believe this spread, whole 9 yards. I'm going to take the Ravens, and I might lose.
Would you be shocked? Would you be shocked, though, if the Texans won that game? I don't think you'd be shocked. I really don't. For me, I would not be shocked. I would be shocked if Jordan Love and the Packers beat the 49ers. I would not be shocked if C.J. Stroud and the Texans beat the Ravens.
That's exactly the reason that I like. Everyone thinks that this spread is the most preposterous thing ever. People punt on the 49ers. Like, I might not bet the 49ers anymore because people are like, yeah, that makes sense. Everyone is they are perplexed by a 9.5-point spread. There's a reason that it's put that way. They think the Ravens are going to win by double digits. So I'm going to take the Ravens.
That's fair.
And I might be wrong. And you guys can call me the big fat dummy over here. By the way, you can use your normal account. You don't have to use the Chatterbox account. This is free.
That's right. Whoops. Oh, well. Doesn't matter.
We're having a day, Elliot. We're having a day.
We are having a day. Outside of that, really no NFL news, so that's all there is. Reds TV deal. I sent Casey this tweet as well. This one, again, is legitimate, at least what I think so. God willing, I hope it's legitimate. But the biggest development from the new Diamond Sports restructuring agreement is how it could change local broadcasting. Amazon has agreed to take a stake in the RSN's company, Diamond Sports says, and it will make NBA, NHL, MLB games available to stream on Amazon Prime. I think this is going, again, the baseball is, there is a lot of, and I say this with love and respect, a lot of old people who watch baseball still, and they might not love this at all. But I would say for a large portion of the audience, especially for this Reds team, a younger audience like Casey, some people that weren't huge Reds fans before last year are now joining the fandom. And I think this gives them the ability to watch games not only on their own time, wherever they want, on their cell phones, so they don't have to worry about the blackout markets of YouTube TV or whatever restrictions they have. So I think this is good for baseball. I think this is good for the Reds specifically. And hopefully, maybe Amazon will do what Apple did, and I don't think they will. But Apple, so when you watch a soccer game or an MLS game, they will give you the ability. What was that stupid face?
Just keep going.
When you watch a soccer game, an MLS game, they give you the ability to turn off Apple broadcasters, and they will let you listen to the team radio, and it'll sync it up.
That's really
so
cool.
I do respect Tommy G. I love the boys over there at FC Cincinnati. I went to a game with Casey. Swaggy bought me the tickets. Shout
out where's Swaggy Plague been?
He's been in the chat every once in a while. He's been in there. He hasn't been in there today, but I think it's great for the sport. Again, I get to watch Reds games whenever I want on my phone. Boom. Will my dad love it? No. Will my grandparents love it? Certainly not.
It's still going to be on cable, I believe.
It will still be on cable, yeah.
It would still be on cable, but you also can watch it on Amazon Prime, which is fantastic for old Rita Roo, who admittedly doesn't watch a whole lot of Reds games.
I think this is probably leaning towards doing. Do you think it'll be a permanent solution, like going forward, like not this year, but I'm talking in the year's future, where
probably
it'll probably be on.
I think everything's going to be streamed eventually.
I agree.
I agree. I think just the fact that we're already putting playoff games on Peacock, which is just NBC's streaming platform. I've been streaming Cubs games for a decade now. However long MLB TV's been a thing, so this is nothing new for me. I have to turn off the push notifications that I get because it's about the push notifications come before the actual plays do. But listen, as someone who doesn't watch a whole lot of Reds, this gives me an opportunity. Listen, the one downfall of my job is I have to watch Reds games. It sucks. I'm going to have to do that this year.
You don't have to.
Well, I'm going to, so that I know
you don't have
when to account for emotion coming into the room.
Is that Lindsay? Is that wild of a take for me to say I have emotion when I watch sports?
No,
Thank you.
Agree, and I think you have emotion when you watch your teams too. Reed, you tell me when you watch Xavier, you have no emotion.
Well, probably not. God forbid anyone in Xavier has a goddamn emotion.
We have emotions. Yes, everyone has emotions. I'm an emotional being. I did Chatterbox Bengals. You see the emotions bubble over. I didn't realize how effective of an outlet storming a court is when you're channeling your emotions. I didn't recognize that before today. Now I know that is a thing. Listen, if the Bengals have an emotional game at home, I'm storming the field. If the Cubs have an emotional game at Wrigley, I'm storming Wrigley. If my favorite politicians make me emotional, I'll storm the Capitol.
I was just about to do it. I was just about to make it. Damn it. Oh, I was just about to do it. That was good, Reed. Shout out to you. Listen, stop breathing in the mic, Elliot. Sorry, I'll stop breathing. My bad. We'll get to Xavier now because I think it's time we talk about Xavier. Mouse says everybody hates Xavier and everybody's out to get Xavier, yada, yada, yada. I did see the tweet where it was some, I don't know if he was a troll or some clown on X.com. He said, he went to a Xavier game for a Xavier Butler game and people were dumping beers on him. And it was so preposterous. Xavier fans know how to control their emotion.
Correct.
So they're not going to go out and dump beers on people. I knew that was fake. In Mouse Cop, I was ready to honestly defend Xavier in that moment. But with all this accusation of me saying emotions are vastly important and you're making fun of my emotion, that's fine. So I won't defend Xavier anymore. But that was very funny. I don't know who that guy was. I think Mouse Cop got him pretty good. But
here's the thing about Xavier. I love Xavier. I've already been to 2 Xavier games this year. I'll probably go to 3 or 4 more. Probably 3 more. I love going to Xavier games. It's fun. I've been going with my dad, been going with my friends for a while. Watch every Xavier game. I, in Mouse Cop, cover your ears, because I'm going to say something disparaging about the Xavier community at times. I think the Xavier community can be a little overbearing on X.com. I think that there are a lot of people that rush, and it's a bit of a mob mentality that is a bit jarring to other teams. Now today I've put on my little troll hat. I put on my little hat, and I've made fun of Elliott and UC fans as much as I can. But I have to admit that sometimes the mob mentality of Xavier Twitter accounts, Xavier burners, and all these things rushing is a little bit jarring. It's a little bit jarring. But I love being the bad guy. And Xavier is the bad guy in this city, and that's okay. I love it. I love it.
I don't care. Like people on I have a ton of friends that go to Xavier, went to Xavier, are fans of Xavier. Mouse Cop knows one of them. His name is Adam Nath. He's a very good friend of mine. I don't like to just trash Xavier. I do it on the show as a shtick because Tom plays into it with me, and I'll play the shtick. Any shtick I'm given, just like Reed, we will find a way to play into it. But I really don't hate Xavier. I think Xavier is a damn good basketball team this year.
You say they stink.
When? When did I say that?
Almost every time we talk about Xavier, they're not a very good team. They stink.
That's not what I said. You're gonna have to pull the tape on that one. I don't think I said it.
I'll have New York look at it. We'll get under the hood. I can find it pretty quickly.
Red flag.
I don't think they're the most best. I don't think they're the best 500 team in the nation. I don't think they're
clearly the best 500 team in the nation.
I don't think
clearly.
Give me all the 500 teams. I want them.
Okay, you ready? I'm looking at KenPom. So these are teams within either 500 or within 500, as Xavier is 9-8. Xavier comes in at KenPom at 28th.
Okay.
All right. There is no one within a game of being 500 until you get down to 73. And that's Southern Cal.
USC.
Yeah. Do you think Xavier's better than USC?
I do.
Okay, then we're looking at, after that, the next closest team that is 500 is Northern Iowa.
Xavier's probably better than Northern Iowa.
They're 105th. Missouri.
No, I'm going to ride with my Missouri. I'm going to ride with Missouri. SEC.
All right, Georgia
SEC.
Tech.
Georgia Tech, that's a good program there. They got a good program there. UC beat them, so that's how you know they're good.
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State kind of stinks. So yeah, maybe Xavier is then. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm always wrong. But my point is, I do think if you don't lose to the absolute two worst teams I've ever seen play, that they would for sure be a tournament team. Xavier would be. Without question, Xavier would be in the tournament, or at least, and Mouse Cop brought it up, but they are projected to be in the tournament as of now. If they take care of business, I'm looking at their schedule. UC, I want 8 wins. I want 8 wins from UC in the conference.
Xavier's got to have more than that.
That gets us in. Xavier, what does Xavier need? 11? Is 11? I've asked you this before, but if you beat Georgetown, which you will on Friday at home, and then you somehow manage to beat Creighton on the road,
they're gonna have to have a big win, as I mentioned before, to counteract those bad losses.
it would be Creighton, right? They'd have to be Creighton.
Or UConn. UConn would be huge.
UConn on the road.
UConn on the road. We swept them last year. We're not last year's team, but we swept them last year. I'm not counting that one out. But
Seton Hall on the road, I think, is tough.
Seton Hall on the road because they will be ranked sooner rather than later. St. John's at home these are some good games. These are some good games. So I know that the Big East. So when we talk about the best college basketball conferences, obviously the Big 12's number one, and then I will constantly say that I think the Big East is the second best. And people go, what? That's crazy. Because we have teams with the names of Seton Hall and Creighton. That's not the same name as you hear like in the SEC. This is Florida. Mm-hmm. This is Kentucky. This isn't the ACC where you got the Dukes and the UNCs. This isn't the Big Ten where you got the Michigans and the Michigan States.
Villanova's close. I mean, Villanova
has a big name. UConn
has a big name.
Correct.
Marquette has a big name, I'd argue.
Sure.
But yeah, I get your point. I get the point. I think the Big East is damn good. I think the Big East will always be good. And Mouse Cop, I think, was accusing me of not watching Big East basketball games. I absolutely watch. I watch Xavier games just as much as I watch UC games. I don't watch them all, but I watch a lot of Xavier games. I have a lot of friends that went to Xavier, so I do support Xavier. I am not a Xavier hater. And by the way, I sat next to Mouse at a Xavier game. If that proves it at all. Reed, I don't know enough about Xavier's roster. Who is the big guy? Who is their not the
Usman?
Yeah, that guy.
He hit a 3 last night.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Beautiful.
That guy's the rebounder, right? He's good. I don't like the white guy from Europe. Not Djokovic, the other one.
Yeah, Gistics. I don't even know how to pronounce it.
Gaitis or something weird.
Gaitis. Yeah. Nimiaska.
I don't like that guy, but I like the rest of them.
These names. Listen, if you were a broadcaster coming into Xavier, that is a nightmare. That is
brutal.
Xavier's roster is a nightmare of pronunciation.
I could be wrong on this too, but I feel like Desmond Claude was supposed to be the guy this year. Last night, obviously, he scored 30 almost. I feel like has a down year. Has had
16 points a game.
16 points a game. What's the shooting percentage?
He is shooting 43.
It's not bad actually.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's a sophomore. Him, Trey Green are gonna do nice things for this program.
All right.
Well, Des Claude's a good player.
Good for Xavier. I will give them credit. There's a lot of shows out there that won't give Xavier credit. This is not one of them here on Boxed Lunch presented by nobody. I will give Xavier the credit that they deserve. And if they express emotion at all, maybe during the Skyline parachute drop, or maybe when Paul is rigging the ball toss and he's giving it to his friends, you feel emotion, you express your emotion in whatever ways you want.
Can I tell a beautiful story about Paul Fritschner?
Yeah. This
is a true story about Paul. So yesterday I went with my godson. He's 12 years old. He loves. I mean, he gets to the gate. We arrived at the arena when gates opened. We were at Cintas Center 90 minutes, but we were at there. Gates opened at 5. We were there at 5:03, and we sat there because he likes to watch them warm up and everything like that. It's coming to the end of the game, and my godson, my cousin Ty, is sitting down there, and I text Paul. I was like, hey. My cousin's sitting in section 114. He's wearing a Byron Larkin jersey, aisle side. If you guys do another ball toss, can you toss him one? And he texted me back and said, listen, we're done. It was like the 7-minute mark. He's like, that was our last toss thing, so we got nothing more. He sends me a text like 2 minutes later. He's like, we're going to do another ball toss. So I don't know if he orchestrated another ball toss, but they did another ball toss. And this is where the egg is on my face. I pulled a favor with Paul. I asked Paul if he could get my cousin a ball. My cousin already left because he was going to go sit by the tunnels where the player.
Oh, no.
Like and funny enough, he wasn't even Xavier's. He went to Butler's tunnel to go high five Butler players. So thanks, Paul, for if you're watching this. Thank you, Paul. That was big league. That was very big league. You earned your nickname. That was very nice.
He didn't throw me a ball when I was there, and I also asked him for the Wi-Fi because Xavier does have a Wi-Fi issue. So.
It goes in and out. Sometimes it's very good. Sometimes it's very, very bad.
But that's it for Xavier. That's all I know about Xavier. I don't know a ton about Xavier, but they are a decent team.
Thank you for allotting the Xavier Musketeers valuable time during your show.
I have one more tweet about UC, Casey. I think I sent you this. It was a wild stat. This one, I believe, is also legitimate. I could be wrong. I still can't believe Casey got me like that. I mean, that was one of my worst losses ever. As a professional broadcaster like myself, that was embarrassing. But here's a stat for you. Weirdest, wildest stat I saw tonight from ESPN Stats. Cincinnati has not lost an overtime game against a ranked opponent since 1994. Tonight was the Bearcats' 12th straight overtime win against a ranked team, the longest streak in AP poll history by a wide margin. How about that?
How does that make you feel?
Hang the banner. It makes me feel emotional. That's for sure.
What kind of emotions?
It makes me want to storm something.
You know what's funny, Elliot? I've poked fun at the emotions thing all show, all box lunch here, but that was honestly, I'm not even being facetious here. That was honestly one of your brightest moments on the show, giving like a realistic take. Like your brightest moments are when you're like joking around with Marty and you do funny stuff and stuff like that.
You.
But as like
I am funny.
in terms of like actual takes. I loved that. It was great. It was fantastic. Truly was fantastic. I'm not being facetious whatsoever. I mean that wholeheartedly. I really appreciated that take. You said something that shut up my little troll body for the rest of the show. You said if you didn't watch the game, then shut up. I don't want to hear it. You can't say a single thing because I did not talk about UC from that point forward.
I just think that again, this is me being a fan of a team that has experienced a lot of failure over the past several seasons. When you watch a game like that, coming off of 2 losses that you should have won because of the silly mistakes that UC always makes, I got emotional last night. I was very excited. I was pumped up that UC was able to hold on against a ranked team at home. Would I have stormed the court? I don't sit close enough to the court to storm it, so no. But I'm not gonna yell at a bunch of kids, a bunch of drunk college kids who are there on a Tuesday night being as loud as they've ever been against a ranked team in their first Big 12 win. I'm not gonna make fun of them. I will not. If Xavier does the same thing, and maybe they won't. Maybe them and the goose. Them and their goose in the cheering section, they won't storm the court, and that's fine. That's Xavier. Cintas is a respectful place. But I'll say this, I'm not going to make fun of Xavier if, God forbid, they ever beat a ranked team at home. I'm not going to do that.
Beat the number 2 team in the country last year.
They did. They beat ranked teams all the time, and that's fine. That's fine. But I'm just saying, if they were to storm the court after they did that, I'm not going to make fun of it.
It's all in good fun, and that's all it is. It's just two good basketball programs in one city, and we are constantly going to look to make fun of the other team. And if you give us a little bit of a sliver of a chance to make fun of you after you get a huge win at home, we're going to do that. The same way that when Delaware beats Xavier at home, UC fans are going to light us up. Because that's what happens.
The only people that I get genuinely mad, are the Barstool accounts. Shout out to Barstool Xavier, Barstool Cincinnati. You guys you guys suck. Sorry, I almost cursed. This is not the HBO show. This is regular show. Those accounts are absolute garbage, especially the Barstool Cincinnati account. That account literally is trash. I wish they would never tweet ever. But that's it for the show. Oh, bet. I'm riding apparently. I'm picking a new bet every night in the Discord. If you guys would like to join our Discord, Casey, what's the Discord thing? I think all these guys are in it. But if somebody watches after the fact, it's Chatterbox something. Doesn't matter. My point is, I'm picking a new person to ride with, betting wise, every single night, at least until I lose enough money where I stop doing it. Tonight, I will be riding with Reed's good friend, the Grapevine, and we will see if his picks win. Now, he uses shot quality. It's what my friend Max Hoffmeyer uses.
I don't know what he uses. He comes up with his own.
Oh, is it his own thing? It's not shot quality?
He doesn't tell us the recipe.
Oh, he doesn't tell us the recipe. Okay, my bad. I don't mean
to. You don't know the secret herbs and spices.
Okay, I don't mean to disparage then.
So,
but I will be right. My pick.
If I had to guess where he gets his projections from, it's shot quality.
My pick of the night. I would never say that about you, Grapevine. That is his take, not mine. I do not know where you get your data. I do not know where you get your data. That's okay if you get it from somewhere else.
He's not watching. There's a video of me punching him.
Holy Cross plus 5.5. I am riding with the Grapevine. This is his pick. I am riding with it. I don't know anything about the Holy Cross basketball program, but according to his data, they should cover the spread, which is 5.5 points. So that's what I'll be taking. That is my bet, my lock of the night.
Me and Grapevine, Zach Gray,
the Grapevine,
close friend of mine. Me and Grapevine, when we were sophomores in high school, battled. We had a battle to see who was going to be the starting first baseman for the Baden Rams. He went on, won that job, and played professional baseball. I went to a D3 school and batted 190 as a sophomore and struck out in half my at-bats. So took different career paths. Took different baseball career paths.
Bets? Anybody? Lindsay, you got a bet? Lindsay, you don't bet, do you?
No, I don't.
All right, so we'll play a game then. Lindsay, heads is the Chatterbox Sports. While these two think of a bet, I'm going to do this game. Heads is the Chatterbox Sports logo. Tails is the backside of this. This is a bet. You're betting hypothetically $4,000 on this. You ready? Heads or tails?
Tails. Shit.
It's heads. I'm sorry you lost. And that's the fun of gambling. She tried her best. She lost $4,000 on a heads or tails bet. I've done the same thing several times. That's the fun of gambling, though.
So fun.
Have you been inside a casino?
Yeah, I went to Vegas this summer.
That's right. You told me that. That's good. I've never been to Vegas. The degenerate like myself would probably need somebody to watch my money. they'd have to come with me and just hold my hand essentially when I go to Vegas. But God willing, I hope to do it for March Madness one year. That's my dream. I just want to watch the first 4 days of March Madness in Vegas. That's my goal.
You, as someone who frequents casinos, you would adore Vegas, other than the fact that the games are bad.
Yeah.
Like they're like 6-5 blackjack, not 3-2 blackjack. The roulette has three zeros instead of 2 zeros, when really there should only be 1 zero. Every single place you walk into is a casino. It looks like a bar. Nope, casino.
That's brilliant.
Looks like a place to get some food. There's a craps table in the back. It is absolutely preposterous. When I went to Vegas, I made the mistake. I got there at like 11 p.m. This was a real Google. I pulled out my phone, pulled up the Safari app, and I Googled. I took my thumbs and went type. And I said, what time do things close on the Las Vegas Strip? They never freaking close. What a dumb Google that is. My brain wanted to know the answer to that question. How freaking stupid is that? If you want to bet, it can't happen tonight, but I'm going to ride it till it loses.
Okay.
That bet, I did this last year with UCLA unders. I bet UCLA under every single game they played, and it won me money. I also faded Ohio State for like two straight months, and that ended up breaking even because they lost against the spread like 8 straight times and won against the spread 8 straight times. But I will bet Xaviers first half over until it loses. It's hit every time for like the last 6 games. Every single time. And like with like 3 minutes left, it's hitting. Yesterday it was 71, which is huge. Like normally they're like 65.
Yeah.
It was 71. They cleared that with 2 minutes to go. So I'll ride that. Tonight I like the Mississippi Rebels. Ole Miss. Give me Ole Miss. That's what my TI, my Texas Instrument 84 calculator. I pulled up the projections, get the modules out. That's what it's hitting at. Ole Miss plus 3.5.
There was a radio caller, and again, when I worked for 700 and ESPN 1530, I had a guy. His name is Jeff from Virginia. Jeff from Virginia is how he'd call into the show. He follows me on Twitter. He has given me a pick this year. It's all of Maryland's basketball unders. So anytime Maryland plays a game, they play tonight, I will also be riding that pick under 128.5, I think. Low under, but I think the team, again, for at least past several bets, it's hit. So.
CC, do we go to Vegas next year, the Bengals?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I go to an away game every year, and the next time that the Bengals play in Vegas, I will go to Allegiant Stadium.
I'll go with you.
Yeah. You get free night. I mean, that's the crazy part about Vegas is, like, have you used BetMGM's app?
A little bit. Not often, though.
Well, if you've used it enough, if you've used it at all, you get free rooms.
That's phenomenal.
Free rooms out in Vegas. And normally the flights are like $100, like, because they get you there.
They beg you to come.
Right.
So my pick is actually the Creighton UConn first half over. It's at 67.5. The total over is like 145.5 or 146. So that doesn't seem like that's adding up.
I'm excited for that game. That's gonna be a good one. Tom has some weird fixation with not believing in Creighton.
What was the joke last year? Or what was the thing that he doesn't believe in Creighton?
Well, like he would just always like Creighton would be like winning. They're not any good. They're not any good. They'd like win. They'd beat UConn or something like that. But how good's UConn? It's funny because like his mind was made up that Creighton's no good. So quickly, sorry, little emotions almost bubbled over.
That joke will never die.
It was funny because his mind was so fixated that Creighton wasn't good, is that when Creighton would do something good, like beat a ranked team, the team that they beat then was discounted. Like, yeah, I mean, like, but how good's that team? They just lost to Creighton.
Mouse Cop wants us to address Tom saying Seton Hall stinks. I do not think Seton Hall stinks.
Right. I said, and that's where I talk about like Big East, like not having names. Like if what Seton Hall was doing was done by a school like Texas Tech in the Big 12, you would be like, dude, this Texas Tech team's great, right? Mm-hmm. If what they were doing was done by a team in the SEC, hell, we'll pick a bad one. We'll pick like Georgia. Like if Georgia was 6-1 in the SEC and just beat Kentucky and Alabama in back-to-back games, we'd be like, damn, this Georgia team's very good. But Seton Hall does it, and we're like, yeah, but I mean, come on, it's Seton Hall. Hey, it's just funny.
I love it. Thank you guys for watching it. This show that is the free boxed lunch. We will go back behind the paywall on Friday. We play a game called Quiplash. It's very fun. It's very silly. I would recommend it if you guys want to. It's I think $10 to become a member at the lowest level, and we have other perks for being a member as well for the different type of tiers, whatever member you would like. I think that there's a join tab. You have to be on your laptop, I think, is the rule, the stipulation. I haven't figured out how to do it on your phone.
You can just here. I'll just send the link on my phone here.
Well, you don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to send the link. It's just I was just telling the people to do it. But thank you very much for watching this show. God bless. I think that's it, though. Casey?
What's up?
Real quick, where would you want to go? Away games next year. I'm going to rattle them off. Bengals games. I go to an away game every year. You ready?
Yeah.
The division games, Baltimore, Cleveland, Pittsburgh.
Have you been to both? Have you been to all three?
I've been to Heinz. I've never been to Baltimore.
Raven Stadium's
I've never been to that
good.
city. No, I've never been there. We go to Jerry World. Go to Arrowhead. We go to LA. We go to Meadowlands. We once again go play at Nissan Stadium down in Nashville, and we go to Carolina.
I'm going to Nissan.
Oh, go to Carolina. Let's get a for sure win.
I'm going to Nissan next year.
Yep, I've been the last 2 years. I've been both. We played there on the road twice in a row. And yeah, I've been there. We played a game in Nissan Stadium for 3 straight seasons, which is funny. I mean, you got to make a way down to Jerry World, right? If I'm going to go to an away game, I got to go to Jerry World, or I go out to LA and make it a fun little trip.
Okay, that's it. Lindsay, do you have any questions for Marty?
Oh. No, I'm still thinking of my question.
Okay. All right, that's it. Listen, everybody, thank you for watching. God bless America. God bless Cincinnati. We got 2 good basketball teams as we gear up for the winter. It's cold as hell in this studio. See you, everybody.